Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? Hope you're doing grand. Good morning. Hello, hello. How are you today on this Tuesday? Hello, hello. Everybody's doing grand. Waiting for a few folks to come along. We had a busy Memorial Day weekend and all the celebrations and the ceremonies of that. And I hope you had the opportunity to enjoy this weekend and raise up um, uh, those whom you love that have passed, and also to have a bit of respite. I hope it was that for you as well. Good. All right. Good morning, friends. All right. Hey, Karen, good morning to you. Hope you're doing great. Glad to see you here. All right, friends, let's get going this morning. It is the 27th day of May at 11:11, and I'm glad you're here and a part of this way on this Tuesday that the world has found you well. Good morning, Donna. Glad you're here. Hey, So this last weekend, I had the opportunity to represent the church and to raise up in many different ceremonies and celebrations this morning or this weekend over Memorial Day. And the way in which we come to ritualize the different pieces and parts of the ceremonies that we get to be a part of. That the opportunity to, quite obviously my opportunity to offer prayer at these, but the different readings, the different keynote speakers, the different saying together of the Pledge of Allegiance and the singing of patriotic songs. All of those things are rituals that are a part of our zeitgeist, our life together as a nation. And whether you participated in them or not, or that's all one thing. But it is to say it. But what came to me this weekend was remembering how important these rituals are, and not just the Memorial Day rituals, but just the idea of ritual itself, the idea of there is a way in which we do things, there is a way in which we move through the world, and in fact that what we discover within even the entire human experience is completely and absolutely ritualized. We think modernity and all of this world that we have found ourselves in seems to suggest that we've just cut loose of all these things. We don't need to do, we don't need to that, and many people will consider the kind of decline in church attendance around that because there aren't as many people going to church or being a part of that they've lost their kind of taste for ritual, or that people that there aren't lots of people showing up for Memorial Day events, and so maybe we've lost our taste for ritual. But the reality is that everything in life is ritualized, and you don't, and we know this, but we don't really understand it. And and so here's an example. Uh, if I were to do this, I could do this live stream and you can see my face, but here I am standing in my office with the kind of usual background behind me, or if you're just listening to my voice, I've got my usual kind of intonations, and you recognize what's going on. There's a way in which I introduce the beginning of the live stream in the same way. But what if I were to do it just laying down on my back on the floor? Like, or maybe I would go on Sunday morning, I would stand in front of instead of standing in the pulpit, I would just lay down on the floor. Now I would give the same sermon, I would give the same information, I would read the same scripture. I would just do it laying down. Wouldn't that, I mean, what's the big deal? It's like literally like here I am standing, it's just a 90-degree inversion, right? It's big deal. Like in the scope of ritualization, it's a tiny thing, right? Like it's a tiny shift. And yet, if I were to do that, if I were to do this live stream, point the camera down and just lie on my back on the floor, it would be ridiculous. If I were to stand if I were to lay down in front of the church and just give the entire and officiate the entire service on a Sunday morning, laying down, staring at the ceiling, it would be bizarre. And oh, by the way, nothing would be communicated other than the fact that what have I done? I've broken the ritual container. And it's the same thing. Go to a job interview and just lay on the ground when you go to the job interview. Try to meet someone or introduce yourself to a new person and just lay on the ground in front of them. And I use this one small example just to give you the example of how highly ritualized our every encounter in our lives are. Everything is. That meeting people is that the way in which we meet and we encounter one another, the way in which we say hello, the way in which we communicate information, everything has a beat and a pattern and a wisdom to it. And in the church, we have a name for that. It's called the Logos. It has a really real way that it communicates itself. And so participating in these rituals of our lives together as a nation to memorialize our dead, as we did this last weekend, and the engagement of that or the lack of engagement of that, and when people think we don't need to do these things, or they've become silly, or we don't submit ourselves to a ritual, or we have the lack of ritual in our lives, it's simply not true. We actually have all kinds of ritual in our lives, and that when we don't submit ourselves to ritual, that's actually when we get ourselves in trouble. When we stop memorializing our dead, when we stop engaging with the divine in a corporate way, when we stop believing that stop signs matter when we drive, because stop signs are just a ritual. It's a red octagon. You can stop or not. Nobody's making you push that brake pedal. But if you don't push the brake pedal, there are consequences. Our ritual life together is the same way. Those are ritual things. They're not instructions. We think of, and we've come in our postmodern kind of ethos that these are all kind of abstract things in which we put upon our world. These are they're inconveniences to how we really would be, or how we would let our freak flag fly if we really could. Like, these are things that are just cramping our style, man. When actually they're things that orient us properly in the whole world, because we are a people and built on ritual and built on the way in which we are wired. So I tell you all that to get you to here, because one of the deepest rituals, particularly of us in the Pilgrim way, is what? Well, it's Thanksgiving, right? Like, that's the established established ritual of the nation. And so I want to invite you to that, which from an Ignatian spirituality sort of way. So Ignatius of Loyola, a long time ago, came up with this thing called the Examen, or the Examen, as it's kind of sometimes pronounced, depending on who you are. So that and what it is simply this ritual that you can put in your day that you can that to make your to bring your day meaning. Because here's the thing, what ritual is a container. It becomes a container for the good and the true and the beautiful things of our life. Ritual allows us to contain it. I want to show you something. This was the communion chalice that I carried while I was in Iraq. I carried this I had a little case for it. I carried it everywhere. I actually broke it while I was there. I had it repaired. That's why it's all shiny now, because it went to the repair guy, and he shined it up, and it looks all pretty now. But the opportunity, the chalice is a container. And and that's what rituals are in our life. They are containers that just because and they're not just like showing up to a Memorial Day event, but like I was talking about, laying down on the floor, that actually standing in front of people, engaging them with your eyeballs, and doing kind of presenting yourself in what we would say is a proper way. What that does is that creates a sphere, that creates an engagement that allows you then to communicate some things. But if I'm kind of doing handstands or laying on my back or not keeping to the ritual of how human beings interact, what happens? You can't put anything in the container because you're so distracted by the fact that somebody's laying on their back, or they're jumping on one leg, or whatever they're doing. Do you see it? Do you see what I'm saying? And so this whole sense of the ritualization of our life. And so I want us to I tell you all of that to bring us to this point of inviting you into a new ritual of your day. That's what I'm hoping to bring you in this 11 minutes today, is this invitation to a ritual that you may or may not have, which is this. What's called the Examen, this from Ignatius of Loyola, and it has all of these. It's this way of asking yourself questions, and so it's a kind of examining your life and examining your moments and examining your being, and it's actually quite elaborate. There's all kinds of training you can go get in it, but it has at its core one simple way that we can all decide to integrate into our lives, should we decide to. And I want to invite you into what today. You can pick it up, you can not, you can try it out, you can not, Jesus will still love you. You'll probably still go to heaven. It's really quite all right. But I want to invite you into thinking about, not just offer you a ritual to step into, but thinking about the fact that everything in our life has this sense of ritual to it, and that the ritualization of our life is something that is to be embraced and to be lauded and to be lifted up and to be engaged, because those are the things that actually allow us to have containers of the true and the good and the beautiful things. So what's the Examen? I know this is a long way to get to what's going to be kind of a small thing, or a conceivably perceived small thing. But I would submit to you, if you actually take this up, if you actually engage it, if you actually encounter this little ritual, it can actually change your life. And it's simply this. At the end of a day, light a candle. And when you light the candle, just take a moment of silence. So light a candle. Take a moment of silence and ask yourself two questions. First, what thing in my life am I most grateful for today? Not in the grand scheme of things, not in the things what moment today? What moment? Think about it. Anchor it in time, okay? What moment am I most grateful for today? And then either you can write that out, or you can say it out loud, or you can speak it with somebody who's with you, or you can just say it to yourself. But to really anchor it in time, what thing am I most grateful for today? The second question that you might guess, what moment am I least grateful for today? And then And if you really want to dig this deeper, kind of answer the question and then answer why. Why am I most grateful for this moment? And why am I least grateful for this moment? And this is what's called the Examen. Now, there's lots of different ways in which you can ask that question. Is, when did I most give love today? When did I least give or receive love today? When did I feel most alive today? When did I feel life draining out of me most today? When did I have the greatest sense of belonging today? Or when did I feel like I was cut off or least belonged today? What was the happiest thing that happened today? What was the saddest thing that happened today? What was the high point? What was the low point? There's any number of ways you can structure it, but I want to invite you into the re-ritualization of your life. That the constant stream of our lives in media, in organization, in work, in life, have been to strip away this sense of ritualization, this sense of proper containers for the good and the true and the beautiful of our days. And so I want to invite you into one. I want to invite you into the Examen. And what is it that you're most grateful for today? What is it that you're least grateful for today? And why? Integrating a small ritual in the midst of your days can really change things. And they really can offer this way in which for the Spirit to work with you in a way that you might never have encountered before. So that's my hope for you today, friends, that we may be about the Logos, be about the rhythm of life. Peace and grace to you all. It is great. I'm going to see who popped in. Hey, Jamie, glad you're here. Susan Wood, everybody. Hey, Susan, glad you made it in. For all of you that are with us, I hope that I am grateful for each of you to be here and be with us. And I pray that, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.